Good evening, good evening. So, you might be able to tell, but I'm not certain, that not a big fan. Not a big fan of the Pope. Um, while I guess a large number of people are in mourning, I don't know why. I don't know why. On a scale of 0 to evil, this Pope was the most evil. That's all there is to it. People can sit there and, oh, but they died. You gotta knock nice because they died. Bullshit. Bullshit. The only time that you have to talk about somebody nice is if they repent. But if they're still doing the same scumbaggery, then guess what? This Pope has covered up so many things. I think that the prior Pope had actually uncovered a lot of stuff. And I don't necessarily think that his moving on was necessarily his idea. But then we got this guy. And he has gone against everything that the traditional church stood for. All of it. And he would try to ride that fence just enough to, keep those offerings coming in. But also to make sure that he included as many people in the offering as he could. And so that's largely what went on. It's weird, I'm showing no data. I don't know why I'm showing, I see me up there. I have no idea why it's telling me no data. No data. Oh, now it says excellent connection. Well, thank you for catching up. So anyway, I'm not too terribly distraught today. I'm tired. I'm ready for bed. Mowed the grass today, which didn't no big huge feat, but with the nice fresh air, being able to open windows and stuff like that, it doesn't take much, especially with this old body, to kick the hell out of me. So I'm definitely ready for bed. Can't think anything else. I've got, I don't know, 8 headlines it looks like. One of them just popped up right before I started the show. I'm just gonna run through them and maybe even make a record night. And that's saying something, because I'm in like the 20s of minutes. 20-something minutes I did one the other night. And I'm pretty sure that was the record thus far. Pretty sure. Let's see. Live. 23 minutes and 36 seconds. That is without a doubt the shortest. So I don't know. Maybe we'll beat it. Okay. Real quick before we jump in, Pope on a Rope. I want to just let folks know I did make some changes. Oh, now I can't see that screen. I did make some changes on the website. So even though I wasn't here doing a show last night, I was still actually getting stuff done. So still haven't done nothing with the Watchman news side other than, I've got the lawsuit stuff posted. You guys can download the COVID-19 lawsuit stuff. That's the only thing under the Watchman news. Under Militant, Geek, Preparedness, I have actually added a couple of sections now. So this is the regular home as you saw it. And then I've got the indoor gardening playlist that I just put up on the YouTube over there. I went ahead and uploaded that. It will load in. All the videos will load in. I don't know why it's taking so long now, but they will. I assure you they will load in. Normally it doesn't take that long, but all 19 of those videos are right here. So you can go watch to your heart's content. So, and then I got a nicotine vaping button there, but I got nothing over here yet. So, I gotta make this page yet. And, I don't know, it's coming along. Coming along. I had to kind of figure out how I wanted to do it this time, you know. Fresh canvas. It's like, oh, what, I want to do something a little different. So I did a little different, since technically it's kind of supporting 2 websites right now. I just made it to where they're, you know, 2 separate entities yet on the same site. And in the Watchman News, I'll set up the same as this. I'll have the logo up here, and then I'll have menu buttons down here, and I'll do it the same way. So that way people can choose, you know, Watchman News, Militant, Geek, Preparedness, and everything's right there in front. That was my goal with this particular site. And I'm not throwing everything into it because hosting goes up in May, late May, and as it stands, I don't got the money to do it. Last time when it went up, I can't remember, January or whatever, we lucked out right before it was due. We were able to pay it. If it's in the Father for me to keep the website, then he'll make sure I've got enough money to do so later on next month. So, no, I don't stick my hand out and say, God, I need a website. Can you, you know, give me a Benjamin or something? No, it's not like that. It's opportunities. So, he puts an opportunity in front of me, then I'll make sure that I take care of it. So anyway, I got that started, or at least the gardening part, the vaping part, and then there'll be more stuff added. So that's kind of the whole idea, is to make it a 2-sided website, if you will, because I don't have the money to get another domain and all that, or else I would. Okay. Oh, my goodness. I will, I guess, just do it to it. Pope Francis dies. Was that dramatic enough? Pope Francis dies. That good? That ought to be good, right? Clip that. The head of the Catholic Church, Pope Francis, has died at the age of 88. I thought that was a lucky number. The Vatican has announced Francis began his papacy, whatever, in March 2013 and was the first pontiff from Latin America. At 7:35 this morning, the Bishop of Rome, Francis, returned to the home of the Father. If you really think he went there, his entire life was dedicated to the service of... I am not saying that. I am sorry. I am not saying that, because I don't believe it. He believes that he was dedicated to working for the Father. I do not. I'm not going to say he did, because I don't think he did. Pope Francis taught us to live the values of the gospel with faithfulness, courage, and universal love. I didn't do that gay enough, did I? Universal love. That a little better? That's a little more gay. Especially for the poorest and most marginalized, Farrell wrote. You know, like the trans people. You know, because God wanted her to have a dong. I know it. I know it. I'm just kidding, Father. He didn't want her to have a dong. No. That's not how that went down. Anyway, So now we'll see. They'll do all the smoky things and all that ritualistic stuff that we were told to stay away from. And, you know. Has anybody else found it, I don't know, at least something worth questioning? Why Jewish people and the Pope and his little bishops and all that all wear the same little round small hats? I wonder why other faiths do not. I mean, so the Vatican, the Pope, Rome, that's Catholic, right? As Catholic as you can get. How many Catholic people do you see walking around with the little bitty, pie plate on their head? Oh, none? But the Pope does. Gotcha. Okay. The hierarchy of the church does. But you and I, we're not worthy. There's a lot of bad juju, and I didn't mean that in that way, but between Israel and Rome, a lot. And I've said it before, my stance doesn't change. They're the two most evil entities on the planet. Just is what it is. I can't help it. If they didn't work together, they would never be able to pull off the Great Deception. That's why it's so important that Rome and Israel work so closely together. Even if it don't always look like they are. But they are. You can't tell me of a United States president that did not sit at the lap of whoever was in charge of Israel. Likewise, the same with Rome. This is what you want to look for. When you're trying to find the bad apples, when you're trying to find the people that you need to be concerned about, find the ones that A, you can't talk bad about, and B, the ones that all kind of have the same hierarchy. I mean, that's what it is. It's a hierarchy. So whether it be from Israel or Rome or even the UK, the royal government, it's all the same. It's all the same. Do I think this changes anything? No, I think this has been foretold. There's talk about, is this prophecy, or is the world going to end in 2027? I don't know. Yes, he was the first Jesuit pope, and it makes no sense. Howdy, Kenny. Well, now, Kenny, I'm not talking about the people. I'm talking about the governments. Always remember that. Because, hey, I got nothing for our government. There's nothing I can say in defense of them and what they do. Likewise, nobody else can, they can't help what their government does. Yeah, Eddie J.D. Vance poisoned them. Yeah, I heard there were rumors. But yeah, it didn't even make sense that he was a Jesuit pope, because the two things are kind of like oil and water. The Pope supposedly supposed to be, believes in Yeshua and that Jesus Christ is the Savior. And Israel does not. So, how does that even work? I can't figure out how it even works. But they say it does, and like I said, the truth of the matter is it takes both of them working together in order to pull off the great deception. If either one of them flake out on it, all they got to do is rat it out. So, people were lied to, and I've been saying that for a long time. I've been saying that during the Council of Nicaea, many things were changed. Many books were removed, and one in particular was added. Which one might that be? Romans. Romans. Why in hell would the Bible have the book of Romans? It wouldn't. It's like the square peg trying to fit in the round hole. It wouldn't. However, it was supposed to have Enoch and Jasher and all the other apocrypha that were removed in order to prevent people from figuring out what it was that Israel and Rome were working so hard together to keep from you. So much so that the chance that any one of the over 8 billion people on this planet would ever get to even go down into the archive room, you could probably be hit by lightning a couple of dozen times before that chance would ever happen. Why? Why? If that's all the information about where we came from and what we're supposed to think, how we're supposed to feel, how we're supposed to live, then why would all of that information be hidden away in the most secure room on the planet? Again, I'll say it again. The most secure room on the planet is the Vatican Archives. What is down there that we can't see? I agree, Kevin. Kevin, I agree. So yeah, I don't have a lot of love for those two. I just don't. The Father didn't build me to be a pansy. He didn't build me to be a mealy mouth, somebody that beats around the bush, somebody that can't tell the truth. He made me as I am and told me to stand firm. And that's what I damn well do. I think there is and I dare I say great awakening. I'm not saying great awakening, but there is indeed an awakening happening. And I'm interested to see where that leads. There's a movie, a series, I think it was, I downloaded, a while back, and I think it was called Revelation. I've got a copy of it somewhere, where I have no idea, but I do have a copy of it. And it was really interesting. I'll have to find it. It wasn't like some big, blockbuster series or anything. I'll have to find it and somehow maybe host a way for us to watch it. So it was like a mini series. I don't remember how many episodes or how long they were. Maybe 3 episodes, maybe 5. I don't remember. But it's pretty good. And I think it did a fairly good job of showing at least some of the stuff that I think we're going to be looking at. So, interesting stuff. I know one thing. As far as governments are concerned, I don't see any working against it. Not one. Not one. Anywho, my watch is charged. Even my nicotine puds are charged. Yes, I call them puds. Because it feels even more gay to say pods. Fun. Alright. Clearing whatever the heck that is. And then we will get on with the next story. Uh-oh. Didn't mean to do that. So this one just popped up as I was going live. U.S. Senator says new 9/11 investigation could happen. Yeah, whatever. I could read the article or I could tell you the truth. I'll go with the truth. Any and all important information involving 9/11 is gone. Period. Any of the smoking gun stuff that involved the JFK assassination is gone. I was born at night, but not last night. And it's becoming so evident to me that all they're doing right now is trying to quell the ones speaking up. And you see it. You see it. When the alternative media starts speaking up and speaking out about something, they move an inch forward on it. Look at what happened with JFK. Look at what happened. They in a sense, they inched along the Epstein thing. Now, in reality, did they do anything? Well, they say they are. But we haven't seen any further results yet. I think we got baited and switched, and I said the same damn thing in 2016. I think we got baited and switched. I really do. I would love to get down to the bottom of the 9/11 situation, but that's not going to be allowed. Plain and simple. It involves one of the countries I was talking about earlier, and they are a protected class like no other. That's all there is to it. Oh, and if you're not in agreement with that, well, I guess you're just an anti-Semite then. How dare you say something against the protected class? Yeah, see, I don't jive with that. Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. I'll be the first up in line. Lop my fucking hat off. Pardon the language. I'll be the first in line. Or second, because that guy is even more brave than the first. So, if you like comic books, you can keep an eye on the market. Dollar nosedived to 3-year lows. A lot of people talking about money, investments, stuff like that. I got nothing on that. Just straight up, I got nothing on that. You do you. I don't have money to play with. If I had a little bit of money to play with, and I was caught up on all the important things, like food and defense and all that good stuff, Felt absolutely caught up on everything else, and I felt comfortable there. I might dabble in a little bit of silver if I had the extra scratch. If I had a lot of extra scratch, I'd for sure own my own property, lock, stock, and barrel. Physical, tangible investments. That's what I would do. But I don't know nothing about money, so might be smarter to listen to somebody who does. I can't see where you can go wrong with that. Physical assets. Depending, of course, what the assets are. Hey, there you go, Kenny. One of these days I'll play that damn thing. And I can be like, I might win. Oh, my goodness. Well, I'll tell you what. First thing, if I won the lottery, first thing I'd be looking for is property. You better believe that. And the second thing I'd be looking for was heavy equipment. Because I'm not paying somebody to do some of it. And I'll be very selective about who I bring in on doing what I can't do. So, that would be the first thing that I would do. Wouldn't go buying a missile silo. I know that's a popular topic when people talk about winning the lottery and stuff, when preppers do. Nah, no thanks. Let's see. Those places are a nightmare. Those places have to have pumps and all kinds of crazy stuff running non-stop. And if they don't, they will flood. And every one of them I've seen that have been retired and they pulled the equipment out and stuff like that, and the land was just sitting there. Every one of them I have seen have been flooded out. Every single one. The lower levels, like where the control room would be, the key room, whatever you want to call it, that's completely underwater. It's a hell of a lot of cleanup just to drain it out and clean it up. And I just think that you'd be better off starting off fresh. Go get you a good hunk of land. Make sure that there's a good sized hill on said land. Get you a backhoe and a bulldozer and start taking a big old chunk out of the side of that big ass hill on that land. And when you got all your well put in, because I would make sure it's got a well that feeds right into it. I'd make sure I set up drainage correctly, and I don't know how to do this stuff. Just saying, I would put people in charge that do know how to do this stuff. Make sure I have all the drainage I could ever need. Nice, solid, thick floor of concrete. And then one, if not two, Quonset huts is what I would put. And after those Quonset huts were all put up, I would have the men that love rebar go in and rebar all that up and encase the entire damn thing in concrete and rebar. And on top, I'd probably be all extra rednecky because I like that. And I'd put a little mobile home. Little mobile home up top. Maybe have a slide away bed or something for the staircase going down into the bunker. Now I can dream. I can dream. Anyway, do you know who else is out of a job today? The Pope's out of a job. And then there's this guy, Klaus. Yes, Klaus Schwab has stepped down as chairman of the World Economic Forum. I know everybody's sad. Ending more than 5 decades at the helm of the organization he founded in 1971. 1 year before I was born. I don't know. I got nothing good to say about that guy either. Evil, evil people. Okay, 4 more articles. Oh, I didn't beat my record time. That's okay. I'm going to run through these anyway. Putin confirms the end of the Easter truce. They resumed military action against Ukrainian forces after a 30-hour Easter ceasefire, Vladimir Putin has said. Kiev's first reaction to the ceasefire announcement on Saturday was indicative of the attitude to any peace initiatives, he added. So, yeah, whatever. This is probably the more important thing to keep an eye on. Exactly. Yep. I am so glad that Pope is out of there. But I'm not feeling confident about who they replace him with. We'll see. Putin enacts key treaty with Iran. Russian President Vladimir Putin has ratified parliamentary approval of a crucial treaty with Tehran, which he originally signed with his Iranian counterpart Masoud Pezeshkian in January. And I know I got that way wrong. The Comprehensive Strategic Partnership Agreement, which Putin implemented on Monday, formalizes a commitment to building stronger relations across multiple areas, from national security to peaceful nuclear energy to joint resistance against unilateral sanctions. Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov emphasized last week that the treaty was being finalized despite the challenging regional and global landscape that attempts to exert pressure on our nations by third parties. Yeah, like the United States. So I would say that would probably be something to kind of keep an eye on. And then this headline, I thought it was concerning. China warns countries not to align with U.S. in trade. Beijing has issued a warning to countries considering limiting their trade with China in hopes of gaining tariff relief from the U.S., saying it will retaliate against any such moves. The administration of U.S. President Donald Trump plans to pressure other countries into limiting trade with China, including imposing monetary sanctions in return for better trade terms, according to media reports. China firmly opposes any party reaching a deal at the expense of China's interest, the Commerce Ministry said in a statement on Monday, adding that Beijing would resolutely take countermeasures. So now we're doing all this back towards China, and we're getting the threats from China. We're doing all the tariffs on them. And now Trump wants to talk directly to Xi. I agree, Kevin. Sounds exactly like bullying to me. Says U.S. President Donald Trump has stifled almost every channel of diplomatic outreach with China, aiming to deal directly with his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping as the trade war between the two superpowers escalates, Politico has reported, citing anonymous sources. The increasing tit-for-tat duties between the U.S. and China is part of a broader U.S. tariff campaign against more than 90 countries said to be aimed at addressing unfair trade imbalances. While Trump has paused the hikes for most countries for 90 days, Beijing was excluded and faces a 145% tariff China has retaliated with 125% tariffs on U.S. goods and restricted certain key exports. So, this does concern me. I'd be lying to say it doesn't. I'm going to be watching this. And I'm going to see if Xi Jinping just kind of blows Trump off, or if he takes him up on the opportunity to have direct talks. But I have a feeling, it's my instinct, gut instinct, that Xi Jinping is going to blow Trump off on his request for direct talks, at least for now, at least once or twice. He's going to show that he's going to be the hardball leader as well. So, I just hope that this trade war don't wind up in an actual physical war. It's possible. Very possible. If China were to say, well, we're just not going to export anything to the United States, they would just cut off everything, just overnight. You can bet that we'd be at war, an actual hot war, because it would actually destroy both countries, because they rely on the United States, because we're where they we're where they sell the most crap. So they would no longer be making all that money for all the stuff they sell us. And us, on the other hand, we got so many things that we don't make here anymore, including our medications, that man, it would be rough climbing up if we just stopped trade overnight with China. It would be rough, and things would be massively expensive. And I'm not talking about everything. Thankfully, things like food and stuff like that, I think you would see changes made. But for the most part, food prices I don't think would go too stupid. Selection of different food products might be far less. However, I'm hopeful that doesn't happen. Like I said, if that gets cut off, completely cut off, you can bet what comes next. And that's not good. Anyway, I am going to get out of here. I am ready to go lay my head on that pillow. And I will talk to you all tomorrow night. Hopefully I have a lot more energy. And I hope you all have a good night. As always, shalom.